everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. We are to the week that we are going to kick off the holiday mini catalog. So excited. I love catalog kickoff weeks. Make sure that you visit my website or that you are on my email list, because if you purchase this week for not the whole week, catalog kickoff day and before catalog kickoff day, in case you need anything and you're going to purchase before then, and a couple of days after, then I have some extra added thank you gifts. And the way my thank you gifts work is if you purchase online and use my host code, if your orders are larger than $150, then you don't have to use the host code and you still get the thank you gifts, but they kind of accumulate. So even if you order later in the month and you hit the different levels, you just keep adding on. So you can get more than one thank you gift. But if you purchase during these days, then there's some extra gifts that you can get. So you want to do that on catalog kickoff day, the actual day, when I can open the catalog and show you what's inside. I'll go through all of the things that I have made so far this month, or a couple of things that I've gotten from friends. I didn't swap at Backstage, so I don't have those. Sometimes I swap, but I didn't have time. I've hardly had time to do the things that I have done. But today we are going to do my September card club. So the story of my month is I am doing card club in September, and I have one online class. And both of those have inventory issues with them. They'll both be fine, but you know, I did two things, and I think there are three things that have inventory issues. So out of all of the things that are in this book, three things do, and I picked two of them. It's just the way it works, isn't it? So in the email, if there are any other things, I will have the dates. Nothing's too far out. It's all expected in fairly quickly. With this, it's the paper that I chose, and it's going to be in the week of September 11th, which I always 2-day, 99% of my orders, I pay the extra shipping. So when it comes in, I'll have it in plenty of time for Card Club. So let me take a second and explain what my Card Club is. It's a subscription service. So you sign up, and once you sign up for Card Club, I use PayPal subscription services. That does not mean that you need a PayPal account. You just sign up through them, and then you can have it taken from any credit card, or I think they'll even do a debit from your checking, and it just, whatever day you sign up on, then the next month on that same day, they'll bill you again. That way neither of us have to worry about it. It's the cheapest online thing that I offer. We do 6 projects together. There's 3 designs, and you'll make 2 of each. So you get the supplies for that. Envelopes are included. Every month, you get to see the first project for free, which is the one I'm going to show you. So everybody gets to see it. And then there's 2 that are for club members only. Every month, my goal is to teach you something new. There's going to be something that's kind of new on this next card we're going to do. It's kind of an old is new again. So if you've been stamping for as long as I have, it may be like, oh yeah, I remember we used to do that. So it's a lot of fun. There's extra perks. Every month you can add on the stamps or the bundle at catalog cost. I pick up the tax and the shipping for you. Unless you're in the state of Indiana, then you have to pay the tax, because that's the way it works. Because PayPal will bill you. I can't stop them. Every 3 months we Zoom together. If you go to my Card Club page, you can see it all. This month, and then about every 3rd month, we have a bonus set. This month we have the Mixed Medley, which is also in the holiday catalog. There will be a video posting for that. And the reason I chose that is because about 3 months ago, we did the Inked and Tiled, which uses the same ones. So this is, you can still sign up for my Try It class if you just want the videos in the PDF. It's closed for the class, but this uses this suite that I chose for September Card Club. It uses the suite, so I just kind of wanted to show you. You'll see it again in the catalog walkthrough. So we're using I think it's called All About Autumn, the suite, so you can add the stamps and the dies. That's not all the dies. I've pulled out the ones that I'm using for this and the ones that we are using on Card Club. So every month, almost every month, not every single month, maybe one month of the year, but almost every month you get a half a pack of paper. So this month they're going to get a half a pack of this fabulous autumn paper. But the thing I love about this autumn paper is there's one side that's obviously autumn, like this is obviously some fall leaves, but on the flip side, if you haven't used it by the time autumn's over, you can use the other side. autumn trees, fabulous autumn trees, but when you flip it over, there's just some generic, beautiful metallic designs. So this is the one I'm actually using today, but if you don't use the pumpkins, then later you can use this. It could be Christmas, it could be a Father's Day. It's a fabulous pack of paper. That's why it's already sold out, but it will be back in time for club. I thought I was going to have to get up like at the crack of dawn to make sure we got it when I saw it was on low inventory. So I'm not terribly sad that it's sold out. At least I know it's going to be back. So this month they can also add on the folder. So if you want the folder, but if you don't have the stamps and the dies, then the stuff comes cut to you. So this is how the things will come for those that are in Card Club. They get it twice. So we're going to have a piece of Mossy Meadow. And then this is the piece of Very Vanilla that I have already put through the folder, and this folder is part of the suite, so they'll get a strip of that. They may get it for the other cards too. I haven't totally sold myself on what we're doing for the other two, because the paper is also beautiful, and I keep changing my minds. They'll get a full package of the Blooming Pearls, and then they'll get a full packet. This time it's a double spool, so they get 2 rolls of the ribbon. So half a pack of paper, this, the envelopes, and then the things to make the 6 cards. Then they can do all of 6 cards this way if they want, or they can save some of them, because when we zoom, I take the prior 3 months and I mix and match all of this stuff to give them some alternate designs. So I'm going to show you first. I don't want to cut it. So what I did, for those of you in Card Club, this is what you'll do. We're gonna need this to be 5 1/4, as we often do with our cards. So cut this 5 1/4. So you'll cut this strip off. You can choose which side of the pumpkins you want to save. I did it, so I cut this strip off because I really liked this little guy down here, because he'll match your Mossy Meadow. But there's Mossy Meadow at the top too. There's so many colors in this, I didn't know where to start. So cut this piece to be 5 1/4. And then instead of 4 inches and having this whole thing, that's why we have this little piece here. I cut this to 3. So you can see you're going to end up with a 3 by 5 1/4, which leaves you this little strip here, and then you're going to cut that into 3. So you're going to end up with 2 of these, so you'll be able to use 1 piece of paper on 2 cards, and that'll leave you another piece of paper for something else. Because if you do it in 4, then you just get 1 card out of it. So that's how we're going to cut your paper. And then you have these included as well. So let's do our stamping on this. And again, because there's so many colors in this paper, you can choose whatever colors you happen to have with your ink for this. So I went with copper clay because I'm kind of obsessed with the color at the moment. And it could be because it's fall. We're moving into fall, and it could be because it's one of my colors anyway. I would kind of live in those orange and greens. So I'm going to stamp the largest leaf. And you know, it's a new stamp pad, so it's nice and juicy. You have plenty of room on here. And I did it for a couple of reasons. So if you bought the dies, then you can cut this out, and I am going to this way. So the stamp set's kind of interesting. It has this, so you have the option if you want. You can have it have a stem. See, if you stamp it now, it's going to have that stem. So you can stamp it with a stem, or you can take one of these, and mine's not laying here. It's downstairs, I think, for Try It class. I have my things everywhere. Maybe not. Maybe it's in here. Because, yeah, it's in here. Or you can cut this out. You could cut it out of a metallic paper if you wanted. And then you could layer that over the top of it. So you have some options if you're making your own card, and we may do it on another carding club so you can kind of mix and match and see the different leaves. And not only that one, the other ones do it too. So if we do it in club, we'll do it with a different leaf so you don't have the same ones. So see on this one here, you can stamp it, or you can have it so it has the veins like kind of 3D'd, which is fun. So all your leaves will be the same but different. But on this one, I'm going to run this through. So you can see if you do that, when I stamp it in a second, it's not going to have this, right? Because it's going to lop it off, but I was fine with that. So I'm going to cut that out in just a second. If you don't buy the dies and you're in Card Club, then just cut it out with your snips. You don't have to have the die for that. Then you're going to have this little label. This die is one of the dies in the set. I'm going to use Pretty Peacock because that is this color that's on the flip side of that little piece of paper. And I pulled out, so it has an I'm thankful. And then it has a few things that you can be thankful for that you can add to it. So on this one, I did I'm thankful in the peacock. And then I went back to the copper. And on this one, I put to have you as a friend. But there are other options. So I put I'm thankful to have you as a friend. You can also choose I'm thankful today and every day, or I'm thankful for all you do. So you don't have to say you're thankful to have you as a friend. Now, I'm going to just take a second and run this through my cut and emboss machine. And you can see this is a fairly dark color, right? So if you don't want to do this next step and emboss, I can't talk, then I would start with a lighter color, like maybe pecan pie, or let's see, you could do Lost Lagoon, go with a lighter shade, and then do copper clay on top. But I'm going to emboss, so if you're going to emboss, you can do a dark color. I am going to grab my Versamark. But because this still may be a little damp, I am going to use my embossing buddy, which is included in your embossing additions kit. I don't know why I can talk today. It's not the first thing in the morning. Like sometimes I film and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. It is not today. And remember, I'm not going to ink this little stem because you can see there's no paper for it to go on. But that little embossing buddy will keep it from my powder from sticking on the ink if the ink hadn't dried yet. I'm going to go ahead and use my tweezers before I put my powder on, because then I can see that it's not going to grab a place where it's going to have powder on it. This is copper. It would also be pretty in gold. You could even do it in black. You could do it in clear and it would just kind of glisten. So you could use what you have. I mean, they're autumn leaves, right? They can be whatever color we want. Let's heat this. When you're doing a pre-die cut image like this, the embossing tweezers are a huge finger saver. You don't want to burn yourself. I know a lot of times if you see me emboss on my channel, I'm kind of lazy and I just hold it. The other thing that the embossing does when you have an image that's pre-cut like this, you can see it's given it that little bend, which we like because we want our leaf to be a little bit bent. That little curl to it. So the copper clay and the copper embossing powder, really pretty together. I'm going to move this out of the way. And here's the little old is new again trick. It doesn't work with all of our ribbon. It used to work with, we used to have ribbons that did it, and then I think for a while none of our ribbons did it. So I wasn't sure that it was going to work with this, but it does. So I'm going to use one of our watercolor pencils because it was laying on my table. But I think any pencil would work. You don't want to use a marker because you don't want to ruin a marker. So I'm just going to take my copper ribbon that comes in this. I'm going to hold it about, cat here, imagine that. I'm going to hold it about this far down, and then I'm going to twist it. You don't want it twisted, you just want it wrapped. And then I took, it's probably too many times, untwist this. It wasn't this difficult before. And I'm just going to take something heavy, so grab my copper clay. Get that cat hair off. And then this is why you want that little bit of an end. My end kind of twisted on itself. There we go. Now we're just going to heat this. You don't want to melt it, because if you do it too long, it will melt. But we're just going to hold it on each one until you can kind of see it. It kind of shrivels a little bit. could probably use a cheap pencil and not one of your watercolor pencils. It didn't do anything to my pencil. So I'm going to do this one side first. When you can kind of see the ribbon bubble a little bit, not really bubble, it just kind of moves. And then move it to the other side. If you have a daughter who's around 30, maybe you did this with ribbon and we put it in their hair when they were little. You could make the curly Q ribbons for their hair. You could buy this ribbon now. If you have a daughter or a granddaughter and you want to make curly Q ribbons for their hair. In fact, I think we used to stick some of them in the oven. It's been 30 years. It's been a hot minute since we did it. Some of the ribbons that we have tried in the past, once we stopped, kind of got off the train of doing it. Some of them you put it up to the heat and immediately they just disintegrate. And you don't really have to get all the sides, because once you have some of the sides, then you don't want to pull it off until it's had a second to cool. I'm trying to do this in real time to give you an idea of how long it takes. So there was no fast forwarding. My pencil, it has a couple of bubbles in it. It didn't the first time. So go to a new pencil or just get a regular pencil. But I was a little bit lazy. I did my card and then there we go. My scissors are more warm than the pencil because they were laying on the table. Now we just have to put this together. So I hope that was a new trick for some of you. If you don't like tying ribbons, this is a fun way to get it on your card. I've started the day and I have more than one video to film. And I have some copper clay fingers. So let's go ahead. You know that we have a 3-inch piece and a 4-inch piece. So it's going to cover the whole card just like a 4-inch piece would. But we want to make sure that it hits both those places. I'm going to put my vanilla. Isn't that pretty? Just gives a light. It has some areas, and that's crooked. That's why we like the Stampin' Seal. You have a little bit of time before it becomes permanent. But this has some places where it doesn't have anything. It's kind of a distressed, especially when you have little pieces of it. And then put this on. This one's going to look a little bit different than my other one because of the arrangement of pumpkins. And then I have this stuck here. On my first card, I didn't know where anything was going to be put, and so I just kept sticking things on and arranging them. And then with my ribbon, I put a little bit of adhesive here. I'm going to make sure, yeah, it's cooled. You don't want to stretch it out before it's cooled, because I think you could probably just unspool it. I want to keep that curly Q in the middle, but I don't want it to be, if you're doing a little girl's card, or you know, it has a unicorn or even maybe spring flowers, you might want the total doingy factor, but this is a fall card, so I don't want it to have that. I want it to be a little bit more spread out and not perfect coils. So I'm going to put that up there. And then I'm going to pull it down to here. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to use my leaf and kind of stretch it out like so. Once I put that in there, so you'll be able to kind of work it around. Isn't that fun? You can kind of work it. So we'll do that once we get this on there. But for now, we can just let it kind of sit, and then we'll have that there to play with. So I'm going to take my dimensionals. And see how this has that natural bend to it from the heat embossing? We want to play with that. So I'm going to put my dimensionals right here in the middle so that can keep that bend. this. This is kind of stuck here. Move this up just a little bit. I like that. It's a fun little way to get some texture in your ribbon without having to use extra ribbon and kind of working with it. And we'll put some dimensionals on this as well. Now this is arranged a little bit different than my other one simply because of the way the ribbon's falling. I mean, the arrangement's the same, it's just not placed in the same spot. And this has this giant pumpkin here. The other one had different pumpkins that I was trying to get to be able to see. This one I'm okay if we cover up more of that. Then we have our embellishments. Now, every month in Card Club, they get a new packet of embellishments, and I have no idea where I just laid those. Here they are. So we use lots of embellishments because they're gonna get a new packet every month. So if you use 5 on your cards, that's 30. And there are 120 in here. So use them, because even if you use 30, you still have 90 left, right? So use 30, do the math. And I don't even like math. So these are beautiful colors. I'm gonna use 5. So let's start with a gold and a peacock. And then one of the pinks. So we have 3 of the big ones. And let's do 2 of the little ones. You could even use 7, because 7 times 6 is 42, and you have 120. I'm not going to do that math. One of you that likes to do math can tell me in the comments how many you still have left. And they're much more happy here than they are in your drawer in here. So put them here. Stampin' Up! Gives us lots of embellishments per card. So even if you're using them on your card in high numbers, you're still going to have lots of them left here. Isn't that fun? So pretty and so fall. Oh, I'm not done. Because I think of fall. Well, I decorated my house for fall over the weekend. Well, it was a group effort between me and my husband, because when I do fall, I take everything down and we dust and we clean, and it's a labor. We did it on Labor Day. But I got a giant bag. We have a beautiful hydrangea tree, and so last year we always pick all of them at the end of fall, and then I save them for the next year. And so it made a huge crummy mess, right? Because all of the leaves. So I think of crunchy leaves and all of the little splatters that it makes. So I just added a little bit of splatter. So there's a little ode to the crunch. And it kind of just fills that in. You do not have to do this. This is my Mossy Meadow. It kind of pulls the back of the card and kind of ties it all in together. So here's this one with the ribbon kind of going this way. Here's the ribbon, and see what I mean? I wanted this pumpkin to show. I wanted these little pumpkins here to show. And this one has a couple more leaves, and I didn't want to cover all those up. So I had pushed everything down and kind of draped my ribbon that way. But otherwise, same card. This one had that giant pumpkin right there in the middle that could easily get covered up. So you see a little bit less of the peacock. I do like a little bit more of that peacock. Beautiful paper. If you're interested in joining my card club, you can pause, quit anytime. You do get gifts every 6 and 12 months, the month following, for loyalty. But you have to join and make all of your selections by the 10th, which this month works perfectly, because I'll place the order as soon as the paper's ready for that. I'll order everything else before then. And if there's any issues with the stamps or dies, the stamp should be good. But if the dies would go on low inventory or back order, I will purchase everybody who has ordered those tomorrow, the day that the catalog goes live. So, and then I'll do it again on the 11th. So if you're interested, then you have till the 10th. And if you have any questions, let me know. And everybody have a great catalog kickoff day. I'll catch you back here later. Bye.